Join Dr. Jasmina to uncover the gut's role in your health transformation journey. Dive deep into gut health, unlocking hidden truths and reclaiming wellness.
Let me start off by congratulating you on taking the time to join me on this webinar and allowing me to meet you wherever you may be at in your wellness journey. The fact that you're here allows me to know that maybe you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, that you're disappointed in the direction that your health has taken despite the efforts that you have made. Maybe you want to address some weight and digestive issues because you're always tired of dealing with the bloating, cramping, irregularity. You're definitely looking for a place to get some help naturally, and you don't know where to start. So the fact that you're here tells me that might be something you're interested in, and you no longer want to experience some of the pain that you may be having from various health issues. So if you're frustrated with some of the uncomfortable symptoms like bloating, weight gain, autoimmune issues, joint pain, skin sensitivities, and you want to discover the root cause of some of those problems, then you are definitely welcome here. So who is this presentation not for? Definitely not for anybody who's afraid to discover their optimum health function. Anybody who has a lot of reasons over why they're not going to get their results, such as maybe they enjoy their pain or they don't want to take the time to make health a priority. This would not be for you if you're looking for a quick fix. So if you're limited by all the reasons why you cannot make health a priority, then this definitely is not for you. But for those who want results over reasons, today I'm going to share with you what can be possible if you remove some of those barriers that prevent you from enjoying the activities of daily living. For some of you, it might be to have energy. For others, it might be just dining out without any fear of what type of meal you need to eat. So we will be going through the gut factor, and in the training, you will learn the toxic truth about your health issues and learn about your digestion and how it plays a large part in your health. So we will be going over the 4-step gut plan that follows our Trust Your Gut program, part of 3 phases to initiate transformation. Now, if you stay till the end, we do have a free ebook on probiotics for the gut and autoimmune health. You won't be another statistic. You will learn how to customize a solution for you so you don't have to be another statistic at a doctor's office. 74% of Americans do deal with an uncomfortable amount of GI problems, be it abdominal pain, gas, bloating, and it's combined with a lot of other symptoms that are associated with leaky gut, bringing it up to 90%. So if you do want to have a free access to the recipe book on probiotics as well, stay to the end and we will go over that. My name is Dr. Jasmina. I am the co-founder of the Gut Doctors, and I'm extremely good at one thing, and that's working with those that are ignored by traditional medicine and seeking a natural, drug-free approach to address some of the root causes of their problems. I specifically work with women who want to discover the power and benefit of a healthy gut, and we do that through our Trust Your Gut program. So today I will be talking about the toxic truth about your health issues and what the gut has to do with it all. So if you're interested in this topic and you don't know where to start and how to get started, this webinar is definitely for you. And if you're frustrated with those uncomfortable symptoms we talked about earlier and you want to get to the root cause, I welcome you here. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, some of the people who did give us the privilege to work with them was somebody like Ms. Shamika. She contacted me in 2019 after seeing results of another doctor's personal transformation that was posted on IG. She's a female educator and nutritionist herself. She presented with thyroid-related issues that contribute to what she called yo-yo cycles of health. She had skin sensitivities that she described as dry blotches, and she was pretty much frustrated with the inability to reach her health goals. And after committing to make health a priority, even through the holidays, sticking to the regimen that was prescribed, she was 20 pounds lighter, and she even began her own health nutrition company as she maintains her health and credits the program for kickstarting a brand new lifestyle of conscious eating for her. Then we have people like Serena, a female in her 30s who presented with an autoimmune disease, and she was taking lots of different medications to manage the symptoms of that autoimmune condition, and she claimed that it was contributing to more symptoms for her because of the side effects of the meds that she was on, and it was leaving her frustrated to the point that she decided that she needed to take a different approach to get better results, and she did just that. She said that she had never felt better. It was really a transformative experience from my initial consult, and I had the lab results to prove it, as was shared by Serena. And we even have Nancy. Nancy was a female with chronic fatigue and digestive issues that kept her from enjoying the physical activities that she loved, such as dining out with her friends. She shared that she felt concerned. She felt that her concerns were dismissed often, but in this case, she said, I felt like my concerns were acknowledged and aspects of my health that often got ignored and overlooked were addressed. And she feels more aware of what the body needed and can live with more energy and less pain and discomfort. Now, I don't want you guys to think that that's the way for everybody, because it wasn't always that way for everybody. I mean, imagine being in your 20s with unexplainable joint pain and debilitating pain that eventually you have things like hair loss that leaves you wearing hats to cover bald spots due to something called alopecia from the stress of everyday life, and skin sensitivities leading drastic changes on your face and appearance, and a chronic cough or flu-like symptoms that leave you so weak and tired. However, you just keep going like a hamster on a wheel, right? Until your body stops you to get your attention. Well, I dealt with those symptoms myself for a long time, and it was challenging for me to answer or to get answers for any of those questions that I had, because various diagnoses would linger from one set of blood tests to rule out things like chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia or borderline lupus. And the one thing they all had in common was an autoimmune diagnosis label, which led to very similar medical management. Medications that can create more symptoms from side effects like bloating, weight gain, headaches, and really no real true solution. For me, the breaking point came as a pre-med student. I was selected to go on a mission trip back to the motherland, which is India for me. This program was through a nonprofit at Yale University. It was called Unite for Sight. And on this trip, I was told the type of heat and the environment overseas may trigger an autoimmune response, and that the nonprofit organization cannot be responsible for how I chose to manage that. That moment, I realized that you cannot live your life based off of a diagnosis. However, you do get to choose how you wish to manage it. And so for me, it was two paths, either the allopathic trail of pharmacology, toxicology, surgery as an option, or the alternative being adjustments, nutrition, therapy, herbs. Bottom line, I discovered the innate intelligence of the body on that trip as it changed my personal life and professionally. So discovering that complementary and alternative medicine was the path that I would ultimately embark on for the next decade plus. I did end up with some transformative results, and literally on paper and in person. So that path did lead me to the present, where I do get to meet other people wherever they may be at on their wellness journey. And in that moment, after having that pivotal moment in my life, I did have to look at the paradigm of health and have a bit of a shift, because addressing some of the underlying causes of my pain and the challenges that I was dealing with, it was the holistic approach that ultimately uncovered the dysregulation and imbalances in my gut and toxins that bioaccumulated and contributed to the inflammation, and how the foods I ate played a role. I mean, I was a vegetarian, but you can easily become a carbitarian, all right? So the approach of the healthcare versus the sick care model was very fundamental in my discovery. So the future of healthcare is definitely the aligned health model. The traditional model, as you can see, is very damage control, disease or sick care symptom based. The current state of health, there's 42% of death is due to heart disease and cancer. And 10% of the population is diabetic, and the 60% are at a higher risk of death, and 2 times more of an increase in medical costs for those individuals versus the non-diabetics. What I'm getting at is, you see a healthcare professional in the traditional model and you get a diagnosis that's based on your symptoms, and then you're given drugs or surgery, and if it's successful, you get no disease or maybe symptoms or resurgence of the disease, since you're treating the symptoms and not the underlying cause, and ultimately it leads to an early death. So many of our most dangerous diseases are beginning before symptoms. There's 88 million people that are pre-diabetic. I mean, you can look good, feel good, not be on any meds, and end up finding out you have heart disease or cancer. With heart disease, you don't have to have any symptoms for 20 to 40 years before a diagnosis. Cancer, 15 to 20 years before a diagnosis. So the traditional model does state kind of like you're destined for a disease. However, we know that there is a different approach that can be taken by implementing strategies that can help you prevent getting or triggering diseases, even the ones that you might be highly susceptible to. So with the aligned healthcare model, it's addressing the underlying causes and you're removing the interferences that are keeping you from optimum health. So it's a holistic approach that for me personally uncovered that dysregulation in my gut. So 75% of your immune system is in your gut. So it only makes sense that you focus on the root cause. So this model, with the aligned healthcare model, you're taking into account the whole person. And this is customized and personalized. It's not a one size fits all, right? It's not a reactive or reductionist model. It's proactive and holistic. So we're not really focusing on the emphasis of genetic predisposition, but the emphasis is on epigenetic control, your environment, right? So for me, the transformation that I experienced from the aligned healthcare model is I went from an illness to discovering wellness and being able to go river rafting in one of the most spiritual rivers in India and experience some divine rewards climbing the Himalayas. I went from having gained weight as a side effect of corticosteroids to being able to losing 30 pounds and running again without fatigue and joint pain. From wearing hats to hide alopecia to having a full head of hair again. To becoming a clinic director, so the largest physicians wellness group in the nation, before being community outreach director to a nonprofit of my own, and having the opportunity to be a health educator on NBC's Healthy Living Expo and an episode of Healthy Eating with one of the largest internet media companies in the world called BOP TV. And my biggest accomplishment of all was becoming Dr. Mom and giving birth naturally and having the energy to keep up with the two children that I have. So addressing the gut and nourishing the body with clean whole foods that aren't drenched in ingredients that'll harm my stomach, making some lifestyle changes and some shifts, that change the environment around the genes, then you change the expression of them. So the physical, mental, and emotional transformation is what led me to this point where I am now. And I look forward to meeting some of you guys on your wellness journey as well. So for me, what life looks like now is diagnosis-free with a body that is at ease instead of diseased. And now I get to meet others and ensure that those individuals have lifelong tools necessary to reach their health potential with a natural and a drug-free approach. So as the co-founder of the Gut Doctors, I get to have an advisory board of doctors of various backgrounds who acknowledge the importance of the gut in overall health, and they provide options for those seeking some sustainable results. So you might be thinking that's all great for me and all the testimonies that we just read you, but what about you? You might be thinking, well, I'm stuck and I'm no different. I get it. You want to clean up your diet, but what's the point if you feel like nothing is changing? Maybe you're not happy with how you look or feel, but you don't know what to do. Or even when you try to eliminate unhealthy foods, you still have issues with your digestion. Maybe you're not used to eating healthy and you haven't stuck with it before, even if you tried. And so you don't really recognize what's going to be the difference this time. Or you've done all of this before and it seemed like your gut health was improving and then it went back downhill shortly afterwards. So I get it. We understand that people can be disappointed in the direction that their health can take despite the efforts that they make. But you can't keep up. Sometimes people can't keep up with the activities that they used to love and they get winded up too easily and they don't have the energy. Sometimes people feel like they're always dealing with the digestive problems, especially when it comes to bloating and cramping and irregularity. But if, I used to be the same way, but I did make a choice. And the decision that I made was making a commitment to take action. And one thing that I know for sure is the 3 keys to succeeding is you have to be coachable and you have to be willing to take that action. You want to focus on the progress. You don't need to be perfect. Right? And you just have to commit to never let your self-doubt stop you from having what you want. And if you follow those 3 things, even if you've tried the alternative, as long as you follow those 3 traits, I definitely believe that you can do this. I get it. Most of the detoxes and cleanses that I hear a lot of people trying are very short term. They don't really give you a way to keep going. So your gut doesn't really stay healthy. They keep you from cleansing, the key to cleansing your gut is nourishing your body with the foods in your body that your body needs and making some small sustainable lifestyle shifts that can eventually become lifelong habits, right? So when when obstacles arise, you have to change your direction to reach your goal. You don't necessarily have to change the decision to get there. So imagine what your life could be like when you can enjoy delicious food that you love without regretting it later. You can get rid of the bloat and keep it from coming back. You feel energized all day long, no more 3 p.m. crashes, and you can be more physically active because you're not always tired. Most of all, think of how good it's going to feel for you to get rid of all those gut issues for good. So if you're ready, let's get started on everything about your gut. You know it, I know it, Hippocrates knew it, that it's all about your gut. So it's a huge part of your physical, your mental, and spiritual well-being, and it does get ignored way too often. So we are going to be talking about what is it, leaky gut, do you have it, and how to cure it. And we know if a person has leaky gut or digestive issues, we often do see hormonal imbalances, sleepless nights, hair falling out, anxiety, constipation, and a myriad of other symptoms that are related to the gut. Sometimes things that people don't even recognize could be coming from that area. So a couple of things we want to go over with this webinar. I do want you guys to be able to discover what it's going to be like to address the gut. It's like rebuilding a burning house, right? We want to go over what is blocking you, what can help you, and why certain treatment that you may have tried may have failed. So when you rebuild a burning house, you got to extinguish and seal and pull out that fire. You got to clear the debris after that fire is put out, and you got to rebuild. And that's the same way we're going to approach the gut. So before we can go ahead and do that, let's talk about some of the things you're going to expect from this webinar. We are going to learn about the digestion and how your digestion is playing a role in your health, the symptoms of the leaky gut, how to help it, and so much more. So let's get right to it. Let's get to leaky gut and the basics. So what is leaky gut? So it's a condition that does occur when the integrity of your GI tract has been compromised or it's been damaged. So if we do a quick overview, it's when your small intestine, the lining of your small intestine has been damaged. And when this happens, it decreases the barrier for you to be able to get rid of all the toxins and kind of make a separate, get all the good stuff to come through and leave the bad stuff. So when that's not possible to do, you can be susceptible to a lot of other illnesses. If you have incomplete digested nutrients, you're going to have a lot of toxins and bacteria and waste that's going to leak through the intestines, and it's going to flood your bloodstream. So a lot of those foreign substances that are flooding your bloodstream are the things that are causing that autoimmune response in the body, including some of the inflammatory and allergic reactions and respiratory and digestive issues, even headaches and joint pain and skin conditions. So things like stress, too much sugar, a diet low in dietary fiber, excess drinking, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, using them, overuse, and a lot of food sensitivities can also contribute to leaky gut. So let's get to the basics of the digestive system. We all know that from the moment we chew food, it works by going through our digestive tract, and we have to chew it, and there's a process of breaking it down into smaller molecules. But what people fail to recognize is our digestive system is allowing us to absorb those nutrients. So if you have a leaky gut, even if you're eating great things and you're raw vegan or you're on a plant-based diet or you're keto, you're not really benefiting from the nutrients of your food, right? And that's going to affect the energy because your gut allows you to unlock energy. So a lot of the times when we get clients say, hey, I'm chronically fatigued, and that has to do with your gut, and maintaining your metabolism has to do with your gut. So if all those things are off, you hear people say all the time, I got slow metabolism or I got fast metabolism. And that all comes down to the 10 organs that are working together that are part of your digestive tract. Now, leaky gut, we said, happens in the small intestine, right? So if you look at this image that we have up, the picture illustrates the intestinal wall. So it has the hair-like villi standing up at the top. They look red in this picture. And then the blue section at the bottom shows what leaky gut looks like, right? As the villi flatten out and the space between them enlarges. You can also see particles slipping through the junction. If you see those right at the bottom, they're particles that are slipping through in between those cells. It looks like a green-faced glob on the lower left. That's what we were talking about when we were saying the undigested food particles or toxins that are supposed to be blocked are getting through and they're going into the bloodstream. And then that's what's triggering the immune response, which often leads to a lot of those illnesses and symptoms. So how does this happen? Let's imagine if you have leaky gut and you ate a burger. The burger is going to get through some of the processing in the stomach, right? Where your stomach acid is going to begin to break it down. But when it gets to your small intestine, bits of the undigested meat, the lettuce, the cheese, and the bread that should be moving through the small intestine, and they end up slipping through the large pores. And the loose junctions that formed, it's going directly into the blood. Bang. Now you have foreign particles in your bloodstream and your immune system kicks into gear. So basically your immune system says, this stuff should not be here. I need to attack it and I need to create antibodies to protect from it. And the problem is the immune system doesn't just build up antibodies to be, antibodies to the leak toxins. It's now going to be affecting the healthy cells too. So that's where the problem comes in regards to leaky gut in your immune system. It's not just building up the antibodies to the leak toxins, right? Now you're getting rid of the good stuff. And once that starts, everything you eat is going to leak into the bloodstream because the damage is done. So what started as an irritation maybe is now blossomed into a problem with many things because of the immune response. And this is one of the ways food allergies and autoimmune disorders happen. So the big takeaway here is that once you have leaky gut, even healthy food can trigger an immune response unless it's corrected. So let's get into the health of the GI tract. There are some basic vocabulary, very basic vocabulary that we do want to be familiar with. If you've heard of the microbiome, that is the home of your bacteria and the microorganisms. So both good and bacteria make up your microbiome. Right? The microorganisms in your gut are typically weighing 4 to 5 pounds, and they make up more individual cells than your entire body. Now, I get that a lot of the times people will say, oh, does genetics affect this? I mean, stress does, diet does, toxins. Now, genetics are a factor, but we're not going to be covering that in this presentation because most leaky gut can be managed and resolved by addressing the other factors. So if you're somebody who's been suffering from the following symptoms, be it fatigue, constipation, frequent headaches, diarrhea, bloating, UTIs, yeast infections, colds, brain fog, anxiety, depression. If you're someone that has some of these symptoms, the IBS, the celiac, colitis, Crohn's disease, inflammation, skin issues like eczema and psoriasis and acne, fibromyalgia, cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome, mood disorders, autoimmune, we've already gone over, migraines, asthma, allergies, inability to lose weight. A lot of these symptoms have to do with gut imbalances or illnesses that are triggered by that imbalance. Now, getting back to some of that vocabulary that we were talking about, dysbiosis is another one. That is when you have an imbalance of that bacteria. So the overall amount of that good and bad bacteria, the balance or the both of them. And that can pretty much happen anywhere in the microbiome. It can happen in your skin, your gut, your mouth, right? And a lot of the time, the dysbiosis is known to either cause or worsen the inflammatory bowel diseases people deal with, right? The IBS, the celiac, the asthma, the metabolic syndrome and obesity. A lot of that has to do with the dysbiosis that could be occurring in your body. We also have things like stress, right? Stress and gut health. We hear that stress affects a majority of all illnesses to begin with. It's no different with your gut. The gut does respond to stress by changing it. It changes how things are moving. It changes what we call your mucosal permeability, which is leaky gut, right? It changes the blood flow and the secretion of the gastric juices and things that need to work properly in order for your digestive system to be at optimum. So they do respond to stress. And we know this because think about when you're in, even a good thing, you're going for a job interview, you feel a certain way where? In your gut. Something horrible happens or there's a fight or flight reaction, something always happens to someone's stomach, right? We hear people say, I got butterflies in my stomach, or, oh, I just felt something happen in my stomach. And that's another way that we know how stress can impact that for people. Now, I did mention earlier that I want you to think of your gut and your way to getting a healthy gut. It's kind of like rebuilding a burning house, right? We have to extinguish and seal a fire, right? Putting out the fire, no different for your gut. You got to clear the debris, because after the fire is extinguished and the area is sealed, we do have to call help to remove the debris from the fire scene, which leads us to rebuilding, right? We have to rebuild. That's when we call the carpenters. Oftentimes, people call the carpenters earlier on and they start detoxing. So I want you to keep that analogy in mind, that getting to a healthy gut is kind of like rebuilding a burning house. And so with that being said, let's go through our gut health plan. Let's walk through these steps, and so you can take and reclaim your health, okay? I like to call this the gut health plan. It does go through the 3 phases that we discussed and what happens in those 3 phases of rebuilding that burning house. You will start off with regaining control. Then you'll go to rest, and then repair, and then reinforce. So let's go a little bit deeper in those. The first step in healing a leaky gut, you got to regain control, right? So if you didn't know, Candida, sugar, gluten, parasites, food intolerances, and stress are the main culprits in developing an increase in intestinal permeability. So that's why we got to put out that fire and extinguish and seal. So what are some of those things? The Candida, the parasites, and the intestinal stuff. Let's talk about that. You may or may not have heard of something called SIBO. SIBO is an abnormally high number of bacteria in the small intestine. And then SIFO is an abnormally high amount of fungus in the small intestine. So both of those are examples of the dysbiosis that we talked about, right? The imbalance of the good and bad bacteria. And that has to be controlled to heal leaky gut. And some of the other imbalances that can occur from the bacteria cause problems because of that imbalance or dysbiosis. And you'll see people say, oh, that's why they had a stool test or they had a Dutch test done. Bottom line, too much bacteria in general, or too much of the bad bacteria and too little of the good. Okay, that's the takeaway from that. Next, we have parasites. I'm sorry, guys, you don't just get parasites from traveling because you ate something you shouldn't have eaten, or street food somewhere, right? Parasites are organisms that live and feed off of another organism. So when you refer to intestinal parasites, we're referring to these tiny organisms, and they're usually tiny little organisms that are feeding off of your nutrition. Because parasites come in so many different shapes and sizes, they can cause a wide range of problems. And they're so small that individuals have no idea that they have, because they can be asymptomatic. You don't have to have a symptom to know that there's a parasite lurking inside. And some of the tests may not even pick them up. So if you have tried countless approaches to heal your gut and relieve your symptoms without any success, a parasite could be the underlying cause for many of your unexplained and unresolved symptoms. Candida is an overgrowth that can be an issue when gut bacteria is out of balance. So if you're wondering what Candida is, you're probably not alone. It's a fungus. It's a fungus which is actually a form of yeast that lives in your mouth and as well as your intestinal tract. So when the Candida is in the correct balance or ratio in our bodies, it can help. It can help out with digestion, other absorption of nutrients. But when it's overproduced and if it's too much, it will begin to destroy the lining of the intestines, and that can penetrate into the bloodstream. And this is what begins to release some of those toxins into your body and your bloodstream, causing the gut to increase its permeability, aka leaky gut, right? Which can lead to so many of the other health problems that we discussed. But the good news here is we know that the way to reduce Candida overgrowth and increase the healthy bacteria in your gut to keep your levels in check. So, however, there are a few factors that can cause the population to grow out of control. Eating a diet that is high in refined sugar, carbs, consuming too much alcohol, taking oral contraceptives, or living a high-stress lifestyle, and taking too many rounds of antibiotics. Those are all the things that can increase Candida in someone's body. And some of the common symptoms for the people who have Candida overgrowth is bloating. It's constipation, diarrhea, fatigue, sugar cravings. Also, most famously, most people have heard of yeast infections. That has to do with Candida. So the next factor that plays a role is adrenal fatigue. So that is a huge and significant component that causes leaky gut. Therefore, when we do an intake on an individual, we do dive into some questions that can help us know if that is a factor in your health issues. And it's just that. It's a malfunction of your adrenal glands that's causing low cortisol levels. And cortisol, as you know, is part of your fight or flight portion of your nervous system. And it's going to directly oppose the rest and digest, the parasympathetic system, which is part of the nervous system as well. So it can act like a chronic stress that can lead to a lot of inflammation in the intestines and contribute to that leaky. Our second phase, right, in our four factor, our gut plan, is to rest, to calm the inflammation and simplify digestion. With a basic anti-inflammatory diet, right? I hate to use the word diet because it has the word die in it, so I do prefer lifestyle, guys. It has the word life in it. So let's avoid, if you want to avoid any of those known allergens or triggers that you're sensitive to, then embracing an anti-inflammatory lifestyle and nutrition plan is definitely key to that. You want to simplify that digestion, and you do that by focusing on purees and smoothies and blended soups that are easy for your body to digest, right? So sometimes people like to experiment with the timing of when they eat. So many of our clients will, entertain an intermittent fasting protocol that restricts eating at certain periods of time during the day. And this does allow their body to focus on digestion and fully digest and then rest. So back to our burning house example, right? After the fire is extinguished and the area is sealed, we call upon help to remove the debris from the fire scene, which leads us to the phase of restoring the gut, clearing the debris. So for weeks, we're focused on getting candida under control, extinguishing those parasites and eliminating some of the offending foods such as gluten and sugar and other foods, intolerances that you may have, as well as sealing that damaged lining, right? The gut lining was damaged, so we got to go ahead and seal it. Now it's time to clean up. We got to clean up the aftermath, and we got to remove the other harmful objects from the bloodstream and the digestive system. So let's get into the step 3 repair phase, right, of the intestinal wall. We're going to do this by avoiding triggers. We want to add some healing supplements like butyric acid and L-glutamine, because now that we've extinguished what was blocking the nutrient absorption, sealing your gut lining and clearing the debris at the aftermath, we have to implement this phase. It's the phase 3 portion of the gut healing program, and rebuilding this with probiotics, right? Now, there are several possible scenarios in which the bacteria, right, the microbiome or microbiota or probiotics is the words that you'll see in a lot of these supplements that should be healthy for living and in your large intestine that can be thrown off track, like the dysbiosis that we were talking about. You could have taken a lot of antibiotics that killed the healthy bacteria and allowed the yeast or the candida to grow in its place. Or perhaps you've overdone it with the fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kombucha, and yogurt, and they've become too happy in a place that requires a careful balance of the right bacteria. Yes, that can happen. You can overdo it with a lot of the things that you think are really good for you, and that can throw the balance of bacteria off. So once we know more about any of the imbalance in your gut, we can start to change that environment though. So the healthiest bacteria are able to flourish and protect your body. So with the step 3, you noticed I said avoid the triggers, the butyric acid, the L-glutamine, the licorice root, the collagen, and bone broth. Those are the items that are going to help in this particular phase and stage of gut healing, right? And then the last step is to reinforce and maintain that balance. Now, many of the factors have already been addressed, so I'm not going to go back into that with the healing process of the gut, but it is important to emphasize that that you have to have a long-term plan in terms of your lifestyle change, your stress management, reducing the toxins, right? Keep in mind that however that the healthy bacteria require a healthy intestinal gut lining. So treating leaky gut and stabilizing your digestion is an ongoing process. It's alongside maintaining the right balance of the gut bacteria. In order to accomplish this, you have to repopulate the digestive system with the proper bacteria. So you have to balance the acidity and boost the immunity of the body. And the foundation of a healthy gut, let's review it. You got to eat clean. You got to reduce the toxins. You got to balance 85% of friendly bacteria, 15% of unfriendly. And then you got to supplement with a lot of the enzymes and probiotics, right? Avoid those foods that are hard on digestion and the foods that are disrupting the microbiome. So the clean eating part, I know some of you guys know this with, simply going for the non-GMO, the organic, free of herbicides and pesticides, free of any added hormones, steroids, and antibiotics, right? You want to avoid the foods that are hard on your digestion and your gut. So some of these you might recognize, right? With the coffee, sugar, spicy foods, grain. Grains and legumes, you want, right? It says unsoaked, and raw vegetables and raw fruits. What's that about? Well, those are the exceptions, right? With the fruits and veggies, with the veggies, you want to cook them so they're easier to digest. All the other items on the list should be completely avoided, right? Even nuts, you want to avoid unsoaked nuts. Eggs and dairy products, those are very inflammatory. Next, we have a lot about prebiotic and prebiotic foods. This is the fermentable fiber, guys, and it's what's feeding your gut flora, the prebiotic foods. Now, there is a book called Gut Inside Probiotics and Prebiotics for Digestive Health and Well-Being by Joanne Tatum Hacker, and berries. It's all about the berries in this book. The apples, the blackberries, raspberries, boysenberries, strawberries. Those are all good sources of prebiotic fiber. So when you see berries, you know it's prebiotic fiber. That is a great way to start with that fermentable fiber. Now, vegetables are also rich in prebiotic content. Some of these vegetables, artichoke, asparagus, jicama, red and white onions, leeks and garlic, spinach, dandelion greens, and tomatoes. Those are all just a few vegetables that are rich in prebiotic content. So we got our berries and we got some of those vegetables, right? Next, we have our probiotics. Now, those are live organisms. I know you guys have all heard of some of these. They are known to have great health benefits. Maybe you guys have seen the commercials with John Stamos talking about some of those, the yogurt and the active life cultures in it, such as L-acidophilus and Elvis and Bacillus, that, right? Those are just a bit of those probiotics. Just keep in mind, those are heat sensitive, so you do want to enjoy them at room temperature or cold foods. That's the big takeaway with that one. And some of the health benefits of those probiotics are that it does enhance your calcium metabolism, which is great in preventing osteoporosis. You want to maintain a healthy balance of your pH in your food, right? It helps produce vitamin K and B. So those probiotics are not only just regulating the activity of your bowel, but they're also assisting in the liver function and detoxification. Remember, when you have gut issues and things are going into your bloodstream, it is causing your liver, which helps in detoxifying waste, to work even harder. So let's talk about some of those digestive enzymes. These are usually split into 3 categories. We don't need to dive too deep into them, but they are needed to aid in digesting protein, fat, and carbs. So a lot of these that can help you, if you see the word amylase, pepsin, or lipase, those are the things that are going to help. Those are those digestive enzymes. The amylase is found in saliva and pancreatic juice, and it works to break down large starch molecules into maltose. Now, you do need that to break down carbohydrates. You need amylase to break down carbs, starches, sugars, and pretty much they're prevalent in a majority of plant foods. So potatoes, fruits, vegetables, grains, etc., right? Pepsin breaks down protein, and that's found in gastric juice. That's in your stomach, and that's going to help. Break down the protein into smaller units, right? And then we have lipase, and that's made in your pancreas, and it's secreted into your small intestine. And what that does, it helps you digest the fat, right? It's needed to digest the fat contained foods like the dairy products that you may be eating, the nuts, the oils, the eggs, and the meat. So those are 3 really key players in terms of digestive enzymes. And let's recap really quick. Essential habits for a healthy gut. If you haven't got it by now, detoxing and eating clean. We talked about prebiotics, probiotics, supplements, hydrating, de-stressing, sleep, sleep, getting an adequate amount, 8 hours. Avoiding the things that I call the gut flora killers, like caffeine and sugar and alcohol and toxins as such. And then getting that fiber that we desperately need to have in our nutrition plan. So how do you know you have leaky gut? Look at your history, your lifestyle, and your diet. If your history has things like NSAID use, antibiotic use, you had a cesarean birth. Sometimes people don't realize cesarean birth, the mercury fillings or heavy metals, the vitamin and nutrient deficiencies. If your diet consists of a lot of gluten and nightshades, sugar, and then your lifestyle, and the environmental toxins, sleep deprivation, alcohol, chronic stress, and liver toxicity, right? If you have those things in your history, your lifestyle, and your diet, you're looking at leaky gut syndrome and some of the risk factors for that, with the candida overgrowth in the intestines, the medications that you may be taking, maybe a zinc deficiency. 50 to 70% of chronic over-the-counter pain medication users have leaky gut, guys. 50 to 70%. One person that I definitely think is a case study worth mentioning, because sometimes you can also have conditions that have been linked to leaky gut that you would have never thought that they were gut related, right? This is Lisa. Lisa was referred to us, and by all accounts, we were her last resort. For more than 6 years, Lisa had been dealing with several chronic conditions, and she didn't really get success with it. She had repeated visits with her PCP that led her to consulting several neurologists, that led to multiple tests from MRIs, CT scans, blood work, and all of this for her migraines. Yeah, all of this for her migraines. And then she came in for a GI evaluation to a few of her colleagues, which ended up in her getting a colonoscopy and an endoscopy, and she was tested for celiac disease, and all of these were normal. These were all normal, and then she tried various diets, detoxes, and she didn't really get any significant changes. After all that, some of her doctors agreed that she seek some other type of health with some different healthcare providers, and that is when she was referred to us. So Lisa set up a consultation with us. She, I remember, brought a certain level of desperation at this point because she's gone through quite a bit, and she did share that she had chronic diarrhea and that she noticed that there were undigested food particles that were in loose bowels. And she did have a long health history. Her journey included, she was tested. She was tested out, but she was willing to give it one more shot. So from her food sensitivity and IgG test results, they did show that she was pretty much reacting to everything. And since she was complaining about bloating and gas, we suspected leaky gut syndrome, and further tests confirmed just that. Her test was positive for SIBO, which contributes to leaky gut, and then she began the 3-phase Trust Your Gut program. It wasn't easy for her, as she was used to health insurance coverage and for her symptom-based care, right? Remember, we talked about that traditional model versus the aligned health. Traditional is very much focused on the symptoms, whereas we focus on a cause-based method. And so the investment of time and money on her part was new to her because it was not insurance, symptom-based care. But so her initial phase of treatment, though, helped her digestive function. And she got a customized plan with supplements that healed and sealed and extinguished the inflammation before any detox could be done to clear the debris and for the repair process to happen. So we have to give the body some time to heal itself. But after 3 months, Lisa's health did dramatically improve, as did her energy and her mood. Her migraines were a thing of the past. She no longer had abnormal bowel movements. And then we supported her body's work to repair her gut with appropriate supplements for each phase along the way. And we're pleased to report that Lisa is able to tolerate eating just about anything without too much of a problem. And that was the impact that she had on her gut health just by making that commitment. And taking a leap of faith even after going through all of that. So I believe she said, after so many doctors and tests, I was losing hope, and I'm glad I wasn't allowed to give up, as this investment saved me from losing years from living life and gaining everything to look forward to without discomfort and pain. Now I'm able to tolerate foods and enjoy meals without fear. So if you are ready to embark on a healthier lifestyle, and if you found that this content was valuable, honestly, an hour is probably not even nearly enough to get through all of this. But if you're interested in addressing these issues for you for good, you came to the webinar looking for a solution, which is why I created a comprehensive solution to help you gain some progress and momentum towards getting your health back. And here it is, your Trust Your Gut initial consultation. We can set up a discovery call and hopefully come up with a customized solution for your issue. Have a strategy session, so to speak. That initial Trust Your Gut consultation does include a comprehensive evaluation with a questionnaire that's going to uncover some of the blind spots and the underlying causes of your issues. It is a 60-minute consultation, and we will go over the number one thing that you need to do immediately and how to implement it. That can hopefully have the biggest impact on your gut health now. And if needed, we do utilize some cutting edge cause-based labs, functional lab tests for you, if that is needed in your case, that can reveal some aspects or red flags that are blocking you and your well-being. This initial consultation, most people just want to know, well, how much is this stuff going to cost me? Traditionally, our entire initial consult is worth $197. And if all this did was increase your energy and help you lose 10 pounds, maybe live a little better, perhaps you would think, is it worth it for me? Now, in this case, we do, since you attended this webinar, we do have an incentive and we have a savings of $100 for those who book today. Your consult is $97. So if you heard about us from someone that is affiliated with a nonprofit, then 50% of your consult fee is going to support that organization. Thus, thus we have that huge discount associated with it. But I'm going to be honest with you guys, I am a busy Dr. Mom. I do have my hands full, and I do have the ability to work with about 10 individuals who are serious about taking this step in their wellness journey. So normally it is $197 for our consult, and we are doing it for only $97 because I do want to continue to work with the people that are committed to their health. And if you are those the first 10 people to book today in our calendar, we will honor that and also support a cause. Lastly, let's go over somebody who did take advantage of one of our webinars. This is Janet. She did the Gut Doctors program and got through it, and she said it helped her lose some weight that she was struggling with. She's typically an active person, actually. She exercises regularly. So not everybody that comes to us has dire complaints and symptoms. This is somebody who was just having a hard time. They plateaued and they felt like they were doing all the right things, but she did end up finding out that she had some leaky gut issues going on. And after going through our program, she lose that 15 pounds that she was seeking to do so. I believe she said, I discovered more from the initial consults alone. I knew I needed something more personal, and this was priceless. You invest once, but you have the tools for a lifetime. And also, for those of you guys who need it, if after the call, let's say you book the initial consult, and after the call, you feel like it wasn't worth it for you and it wasn't worth your time, then just let us know and we will give you the opportunity to get your money back. We're in this to transform people and their lives. So, we're here to show up for you if you want to access a new future for yourself. And ultimately, if it was not worth your time, you can get your 3 underlying issues. You can get your customized solution. And if you want to ask for a refund, you can do just that. Now, I'm fortunate I haven't had too many people that have had to do that. So for those who have given us the privilege to work with them, it has been an honor. And for anyone who's seeking a natural, drug-free approach to your health, if you're ready to discover the root cause of your problems and you're willing to make those changes, and you're looking to initiate some transformation, if you're looking and you want customized solutions to overcome some of the biggest problems that you might be dealing with, and you just need some guidance and resources and support, then this is definitely for you. And the truth is, guys, your efforts thus far may not have helped you achieve the results that you were looking for. So transformative change does start with a choice. And what you choose to invest in, you have to ask, does it add to your, so if you're having this discussion with me 1 year from today and you're looking back at your life, what would have to happen for you to feel happy with your progress? I'm on a mission here to transform the lives of women and create a movement of making everyone unlock their true potential. And if all it did was double your energy, you lost 15 pounds, you gained some confidence, and you eat without fear, and you fit into the clothes again that you were struggling with, then this is the space for you. I used to do this via telehealth for the past 5 years, and being able to offer this in a space virtually for people that's easily accessible has been a really big game changer in us helping as many women as we possibly. Now, what comes next? Your next stop is just go to the website, go to thegutdoctors.com. And at the top of the page, you'll see the Trust Your Gut initial consultation. Just click on book your call. Once you do that, step 2 is book the consult by phone or by online video chat, right? So once you go to the website, thegutdoctors.com, click on book call, and you'll get to a page that shows how you want to book your consult by phone or online video chat. You can select a time. When you click next, it'll give you an opportunity to enter your info with your name, email, and phone number. Please definitely name your referral so we can thank them and we can apply that 50% donation to the nonprofit if applicable, okay? Please don't forget to do that. And we want to thank the people that referred you. That's one of the best compliments. The next step 3, will be to enter the payment information. And once you do that, just check your email and we will send you the health history form and a coaching policy that you can submit easily electronically before the call. I want to congratulate you guys in investing in your most priceless asset, which is you. So you want to take care of the part of you that you live in for the rest of your life, and that's your body. So for those of you who don't take action, I get it. You might want to be able to enjoy those meals and you've been struggling with your gut health for too long. Maybe you dream of feeling constipation free and uncomfortable bowel movement. You want to feel satisfied after eating and you're filled with energy, but in reality, you feel tired, you feel sick, frustrated, and down. So if you do not take action, that is ultimately your choice. However, we are here and ready to restore the gut and ditch that bloating for good. We know how to transform your health, your digestion, and your body, and we're here to help you do it when you are ready. Okay. And for those who are ready to embark on that healthier lifestyle, get a one-on-one customized transformation to help you overcome those big challenges. And I want you to imagine what you could finally understand that the underlying issues that you've been dealing with are issues that have been associated with your gut. Let's help you access a healthier, energized, and productive version of you. And I want you to imagine being able to stop even more serious emotionally and financially devastating diseases from forming that are associated with your current symptoms. And I want you to imagine a clear plan of action to holistically address the underlying cause, your issues once and for all, so your friends and your family and colleagues will be inspired by your. And I'm pretty sure we can all agree that perhaps you've tried everything to correct your gut health. I get it. Not taking action can cost you more in the end, guys. You feel like you've tried everything. You feel like you'll be missing out if you don't eat whatever you want. You have no idea what you want to eat or what you can't eat, or you feel like you can't stick to a plan. You're used to eating whatever you want and you don't want to give up. You're afraid to make major lifestyle changes, even if it offers amazing benefits, and you don't know enough about your gut health to manage it correctly. You know, I just want you guys to know that there is hope for a better life, and you're not destined to a life of discomfort or a lack of energy or insight. You can fix your gut health problems, and knowing is really not enough. You have to take action, all right? So imagine what life can be like with no more diets. We don't believe in counting calories, guys, and neither should you. So we will focus on eliminating the foods that are harming you, and we will embrace the foods that help you while you listen to what your body needs. So thriving health, by cleansing your body, you'll be thriving your body of toxins, getting rid of those toxins and chemicals and nourishing your body. You can say goodbye to stomach pain, headaches, rashes, and allergies, body aches, and all the other symptoms that you struggle with. Imagine what your life can be like with boundless energy. So when you eliminate processed foods and you fuel your body, you'll wake up feeling rested and have energy that lasts all day long without having to reach for that coffee. Perhaps you'll feel calm and in control. So instead of a cycle of deprivation and binging, you'll feel nourished all the time because you've been listening to your body. This means you won't have to suffer from cravings or the need to binge on junk. So we are definitely here for you if you're ready to go with your initial Trust Your Gut concept. And at this point, I just want to quickly go over some of my frequently asked questions. Often we are asked, who are you and how are you accredited to instruct me? Well, once Dr. Jasmina, DC, my gut advisory board consists of various doctors sought out for their clinical experience and expertise. We have a sports medicine doctor with a background with multiple wellness clinics. We have Dr. Nisreen Thaib. She was a board-certified chiropractic neurologist and diplomate of American Board of Clinical Nutrition. We also have an MD on board that also recognizes that you have to focus on non-surgical interventional pain management techniques. So combined, we are a group of doctors that believe in the natural holistic approach to addressing people's health issues. We have 20 years of clinical experience serving patients in our respective specialties, and we dealt with a lot of these issues. a lot of these issues that we do help a lot of our clients with, we were the patient once, so to speak, whether it was joint pain, autoimmune, weight gain, or food sensitivities. So we do recognize the significance in addressing the leaky gut aspect to be able to get some results to live. Second, will you be deprived? I get that question a lot. Will I be deprived if I do this? No, you won't. In fact, the perfect example of deprivation is eating the wholesome American diet. It's filled with factory-made, genetically modified foods that contains an enormous amount of chemicals, preservatives, bad fats. That, my friend, is deprivation. So eating, but getting no nutrition, pretty much. But in this program, you'll be doing the complete opposite. All of your meals are planned out to ensure that you're fueling your body with proper nutrition to burn the maximum amount of fat. You'll get access to breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, recipes. So you always have options. Does health insurance cover this? Simply put, no, it doesn't. Health insurance covers symptom-based care. It does not cover cause. But I can tell you we've never had to turn anyone away for financial reasons. But if you're committed and you're disciplined and you're serious about making health a priority, we'll work with you. But number 4, how is this different from what's out there? Well, you know what? Everyone is different depending on what wellness journey that they're on. So this is a 10 to 11 week program. That is how long it can also take as well. And everyone is different. Everyone's reasons and root cause can be different. So it is a customized approach for those of you guys who have probably not gotten the results that you are seeking. We will get to the root cause of what is keeping you and blocking you ultimately from seeking the results that you're looking. Lastly, I just want to thank everybody for joining me on this webinar. You can reach us at thegutdoctors.com, and I look forward to meeting you guys on your wellness journey when you book that.